Hello and welcome back to another FPL video with me, Fabio. Thanks for tuning in. So we're going to have a Game Week 15 review and as well as a Game Week 16 preview. Game Week 15, I ended up getting 63 points. It was a really shaky game week for me up until the very last day when Manchester played and Bruno Fernandes was able to get 18 points, which was able to bring me up to, which was able to give me a green arrow with a total of 63 points. All us managers got 5 free transfers and I ended up using 4 of the 5 free transfers. The 4 transfers were used for Foden, came in for Gakpo, as Foden had a really good game week and has been having a really good game week for the past 3 game weeks. I bought in Gvardiol for Van Hecke and Drewsbury Hall in for Elliot Anderson, as well as Gehi, who came in for Munoz. Gehi has just been phenomenal. Crystal Palace's defensive line has been thinning out, so I think that there will be rotation in that defensive line by Glasner, and probably Gehi, being that he's fit, will still be getting good minutes. So the squad for Game Week 16 looks like Gvardiol, Foden and Haaland, as I plan on targeting Man City's good run of form, as they just recently beat Real Madrid 2-1 in the UEFA Champions League. And they also have a good run of fixtures facing West Ham and Nottingham Forest in their next 3. Then Timber, Rice and Saka versus Wolves, though I do plan on getting rid of my Arsenal assets as they're starting to get flagged and are looking fatigued. And their fixtures, their upcoming fixtures are also really mixed, so I'm evaluating that. Then Thiaw versus Sunderland. Newcastle's defense has been looking convincing. It's just they've been really unfortunate to concede late goals. Then Drewsbury Hall versus an unconvincing defensive line of Chelsea. Igor Jesus, as he's been getting consistent minutes under Sean Dyche, and he plays Tottenham next, as well as Igor Thiago, who is playing Leeds next. So players that returned in Game Week 15 are Foden, and he plays Crystal Palace next. He's been convincing the last 3 game weeks, so he's getting to the point where he is essential to buy, and Manchester City as a whole have been looking really convincing. Drewsbury Hall, he's been looking like one of Everton's better players, and Everton have been getting results under Moyes, so I'd say that he's definitely a player to look out for. Then Bowen has been getting returns and finally was able to score in the last game week, although now his fixtures are not looking all that good. Matty Cash of Aston Villa plays West Ham next, but besides that fixture, he plays Chelsea and Manchester United next, and it'll be difficult to keep a clean sheet in either of those fixtures, so I'd say he'd be at a void for defenders. So my recommended team would be under defense, Hankapie of Arsenal as they play Wolves. The reason that I'd recommend him is Arsenal's defensive line is starting to thin out, and Arteta is getting to the point where he's starting to rotate players, and I believe Hankapie will be one of those players to benefit from rotations. They play Wolves next, and I also believe that that's another reason why Arteta would be more free to play his newer signings. Joachim Anderson versus Burnley. He's been solid, even though Fulham haven't been getting their results have been mixed. Joachim Andersen has been getting defensive returns, which is a great attribute for defender. Timber, if he's fit for that game versus Wolves, I think that he'll be a good asset. Then after that, we can evaluate on whether to sell him for another defender that might have a better run of fixtures in the next 5. Then Nico O'Reilly of Manchester City as they play Crystal Palace. I know Crystal Palace is a difficult fixture on paper, but they are tiring out. Then for my midfield recommendation, I would play Saka versus Wolves, Foden versus Crystal Palace, Django Ouattara versus Leeds, and Szoboszlai versus Brighton. And for my forwards, I would recommend Haaland versus Crystal Palace, as well as Igor Thiago versus Leeds. So my captaincy for this week is still Haaland versus, or as opposed to Saka, who is the favorite for this game week, or the favorite differential captain for this game week. The reason I chose Haaland is because he's been super consistent. He just scored a penalty versus Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. So I believe that he'll keep that form going in the Premier League. And he's been looking super convincing. It's just so super risky to go against Haaland. So I wouldn't. And I believe that this week, as crazy as it sounds, it seems that it will be a differential captaining Haaland. So for those reasons, I'll be captaining Haaland.